Angel Grove Security. How may I help you? No. This better not be a prank. Oh my God. Finally. I can't believe he's doing it.
For today's assignment, the word of the day is nostalgia. Picture this. 9-year-old me sitting in my living room on a Saturday morning, hands filled with action figures and eyes glued to watching 5 teens with attitude fight monsters with high-tech weaponry and Zords, all without a license. Fast forward 30 years, I suddenly realized I have never made an original monster for this property I adore. And that changes today. It's morphin' time.
Yeah.
As with every creature, regardless of good or evil, we make the eyes on this channel using glass cabochons and an array of nail polishes. For the creature today, I wanted him to have off-colored eyes, and I settled for one white and one green. After I allow these eyes 2 hours to dry, I then start forming a beast's head out of aluminum foil and Super Sculpey Ultralight, push them in, bake them, and then once fully hardened, this head of doom requires a frame of hate. To avoid this hulky beast falling over in the oven or cracking, I doubled 2 pieces of armature wire together for a stronger chassis of sorts. Once his underlying skeletal structure is mapped out, I take a standard base to position him on, then make his baked potato body out of aluminum foil. Off camera, only because my camera for some reason didn't record it, I also add copious amounts of ultralight to his body and then go in for a bake. While this is also baking, I had a thought. Every season of Power Rangers has a variation of Putty Patrol henchmen. So because I like to punish myself, I needed to make my own version of a Putty Patrol, which I call a Sleel. The Seal's body is going to be made in an identical way to my past sculptures, and once it's cooled down, we're going to cover his frame in Super Sculpey Original. For a lot of what you're about to see, it's somewhat self-explanatory, so just allow me some time to just nerd out for a bit if I can. If my past videos have not articulated enough through my art, I am a lover of everything nerd culture and especially monsters. Growing up, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is where this love came from. It's my ultimate happy place. In fact, if I had to do a mental catalog, I would have to say comparing to Marvel, DC, the Muppets, and Star Wars, it is literally tied up there as probably my favorite fandom. And yes, compared to today's standards, the acting can be somewhat cheesy or comical, but it's supposed to be. It's a show based off of 5 teenagers given demigod-like powers by a floating head, and it's incredible. And do not get me started on that theme song. It's still top 5 to this day, and it still bangs to this day. In fact, I would bet $1 of my little paycheck that I get that if you played that theme song to people my age range, they would lose their mind. And if you don't believe me, I present to you Exhibit A.
Hello?
Hey, Abdul, what up, bro?
Hello?
Hello?
Dude, is that the Power Rangers theme song?
What is that in the background? Is that? Bro, don't tell me you're playing Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Are you watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Power Ranger! No way.
Rangers? Are you serious? Yes, absolutely. Yes, man.
With the core and nerd opinion satisfied, and the bulk of the frame now fully finished, I start detailing the features on the head, which will include me giving him 2 larger tusks and a horn. Regarding these, I want there to be some detail, but I don't want it to be extensive. My inspiration is going to be on both of these pieces calling from the plethora of monsters from seasons 1 and 2 of the original airing, and I'm working diligently to create something that, hopefully longtime fans of the franchise will look at these and go, hey, I could see Billy or Kim fighting one of these. So that when I wake up from my fainting, I could be like, OMG, thanks. So I'm saying all that to say, if you are a fan of the franchise, which should be all of you, please let me know in the comments if I'm hitting my mark with these, or if I am completely way off. And if I'm completely way off, let me know so I can delete this channel and go find Bulk of Skull's taco stand and just be there the rest of my life. Once the head is to my liking, we attach it to his neck and then add oven-baked clay adhesive to the neck and future arm tentacles. I was going to go the claw hand route with his arms this week, and then I decided I just didn't want to. And I felt tentacles was more on brand for me, actually. I'm sure I'm going to regret saying that a few years from now, but we'll deal with that when the time comes. Anyway, once I have enough clay on his body, I use my custom sculpting tools to add final details, then off to the oven he goes to get baked, allowing me to focus on the star of the show this week, which ended up being a giant pain in my ass. Thornicate. Same as the Sleo, a lot of what is occurring is rinse and repeat, so here's some more backstory, some nerd talk for you. Most of you are aware of this, but for the uneducated, outside of a few storylines, the initial formula of the first handful of episodes were non-canon, and they essentially went like this. Teens go to school at the juice bar, Putty Patrol come and start a fight, Rangers stop the Putty Patrol, Rady task her henchman Finster to make a monster, monster is born, monster fights the Rangers, Rangers start to win, Rita makes her monster grow! Rangers get into the Zords, they merge together, they cause a shitload of property damage out of nowhere, they save the day, roll the credits. With that in mind, here's the backstory on my custom character, Thornicate. Thornicate is a beast that, in the web of thoughts inside of my cranium, Rita would call upon to have Finster create just to poison all the trees and flowers around either Angel Grove or somewhere in the springtime area, and it's going to turn all of Angel Grove into her quote-unquote slaves. Calling upon the Rangers to try to stop Thornicate's plan. One by one, just as all of the Rangers start to lose hope and they start to go under her spell, Alpha 5 helps the last Ranger develop the antidote to save everyone. And that Ranger is the Black Ranger, armed with his battle axe and all, and he's gonna come to do the fight of all fights to save his friends, Angel Grove, and ultimately the world, all on his back. How's that sound? Sound good? Yeah? Well, let me know in the comments. Alright, with all of that out the way, let's get back into the sculpt this week. Now, for this week's main attraction, this is a perfect byproduct of Abdul having a large vision, but lacking the tact to successfully create it. Not only was he too tall for my oven, he's just too tall. In comparison to the Ranger that I'm using, it's just not adequate, and I should be using a Megazord instead. But that said though, if you think I'm doing a super detailed Megazord this late into the sculpture process, you have me all the way f***ed up. That said, just like everything else in my life, I'm going to make it work. So, here we are. Unlike the Sleo, Thornicate's arms and tentacles are going to be made with cosplay medium firm, and will cover copious amounts of shaped foil for extra durability. Once they're clayed and the rest of the frame is to my liking, Thornicate will get a series of detailing with my custom sculpting tools and some thorns added to his horns. Yes, these are the same thorns from a few weeks ago. And once everything is to my liking and I'm feeling very confident, off to the oven he goes to hopefully bake without casualty or causing my house to implode. As if I didn't have enough to complain about, let's address my final gripe for today. To save time and the precious sanity I have left, I ordered this Black Power Ranger off of Amazon for no other reason because Zach is awesome. It was supposed to include a battle axe, and no matter how much I shook the box, no axe came out. So now we had to make one. I'll be fully transparent and admit this isn't the best axe I could do, but it'll work. So next up, let's make a base. The entire base are two thin canvas boards that I glue together, then wrap in sheets of aluminum foil, which are also glued into the base to hold it all together. I then take a few various size balls of foil and I'll glue them into different areas on the base to create the landscape. And once I'm comfortable with the placements, I do make sure that we make a base today, and in the shocking of events, we're using spray foam for round 2. It was a personal mission of mine to show how actually this product looks when you use it. So once I have it sprayed across the base and watered down and patted in place, it's time to use my favorite project to use and signal that drum solo. For the plaster part of the base, I mixed it in plaster, a few drizzles of black ink, some red inker powder which does absolutely nothing, some white acrylic ink. If the plaster period is white, why am I adding whatever? Some white acrylic ink, followed by some yellow resin dye, with about 1.5 to 2 cups of water. Once everything is blended, it's going to give me a gray color that I'm going to use to ultimately fill in the areas where the foam wasn't able to completely cover the aluminum foil, followed by ultimately the middle of the base where Zach is about to throw down with these monsters. Once the plaster is hardened, we can finally get the paint in this week. The base layer starts out with a coat in the black, and once dried it goes over with a layer of white. To bring some effective shading, this is then followed with splashes of flame red in randomized areas on the base. Once satisfied, the base goes off to dry, and then we can start painting our alien beast this week, starting with the Sleal. The Sleal's base color is made by combining sepia, black, light green, and orange acrylic inks to create this green, mossy base color, which is sprayed primarily across the torso, excluding his head and his arms. After the body is covered, the head and tentacles receive straight light green for the variation, and then I'm also going to go over his cankles and some areas of his frame with the same color, just to accentuate the details, and also alleviate some of the monotony in the color scheme. After this, the head thorn, tusks, and toenails are also going to get a black coating, and then I will outline one of the eyes with black for an added effect. With the henchmen done, it's time for the boss. I wanted Thornicate's color palette to differ massively from the Sleal's. To do so, I'm employing a dual color palette for him, which I believe will be considerably aiding in the creep factor and also adding the appeal as a potential Power Rangers villain. I start with using a lighter green to start painting one side of his frame, and then once covered I will go over this with a slightly darker green just to bring out some of the details and ensure that they're protruding nicely. Once this is to my satisfaction, I will then go to paint the left side with the stop sign red, which is more accurately flame red from Dollar Rounty. The inside of his mouth, horns, and then spikes will all get painted with a darker black mixed with red, and then the same color is going to split him down the middle. I will then go over the chest and tummy region with a lighter yellow just to add variance, and this is then followed by painting the teeth straight white. Once the paint is cleaned off his eyes, I then will glue everyone to the base, give Zach his axe to battle, and this is normally where I say it's time to go to the Never place, but for this week, I think it's time, just for nostalgia, let's go back to Angel Grove.
It's morphin' time!
Call it being on the doorstep of a midlife crisis, or just needing a solid trip down memory lane, but the joy I had making this week's project was much needed, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. If you did, as common practice goes, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for future craziness, and then ding the bell to keep updated. I would also be remiss if I didn't give a special thank you to the family and friends who graciously lent their time and wackiness to this video. They're all supremely talented and amazing people, and I'm going to put links for their platforms in the description. This week was a lot of fun, and next week, while not as large in scope, I think you'll like it too. Until then, stay blessed and believe in yourself. And if you can't, I'll believe in you until you're ready. Take care, folks.